I'm back again with some more Yu-Gi-Oh! And my sister's gonna join me once again, so say hi to Shun Hades, everyone. Yeah, that was her.
It's just the way you said it, like they were going to respond to you.
Hey, I heard that people like to feel like they're involved in these videos, so I try to make it as close to that as possible.
They are involved, but it was just the way that you were like, say hi. Like, we were going to magically be able to hear them say hi. But if you guys did say hi, hey you guys, nice to hear from you again.
Stop
Sorry,
taking
didn't mean to laugh.
things.
It was just funny.
Stop taking things so damn literal.
Well, somebody has to.
uh, anyways, oh, and to answer that question from like 20 seconds ago, I'm facing Jack.
Okay.
Did I? I think I pressed the button. Yes, I did.
Yeah. God damn, I'm just thinking about that ramen from the Yu-Gi-Oh cafe. The Jack Atlas ramen. I told you about that, I
Yes, you
believe.
did. It sounded really good. Huh.
The fresh strawberry thing still kind of freaked me out, but people enjoyed it.
Well, I think the Japanese was once compared to the weird cousin with all the really cool stuff.
Okay, let me elaborate. The fresh strawberries were not 100% in the ramen. They put it on the lettuce, so it never actually touched the broth, so it was very easy to remove them.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
Although I will admit that while I wasn't going to order it myself, the Blue Eyes Mountain set, I was sad that it sold out so quickly. Even though
Yeah.
all it really was a cup of coffee with a sandwich, and I forget what the other thing was, for basically $30.
Yeah, I actually want to try that myself. Oh, I only have Black Rose Dragon right now. Oh, I don't need either one of
Sorry.
these.
The struggle is real.
Yes, it is. Alright. I think
Although I have to be curious how many of anyone watching this video is playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links.
probably a few more at some point since you said it just came out. No, I don't want to use that.
Yeah, it's such a fun game. It's too bad that they couldn't release it sooner. The Christmas event was actually really interesting.
Second
It was.
turn.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm listening to you also, but I just brought out Black Rose Dragon in my second turn.
Yay!
So
What else?
I don't know how to do that.
I'm just gonna shut up then.
No. I, I I'm usually just sitting here rambling to myself anyways, so
Well, I was honestly just gonna say for anyone who didn't get to play the event, basically you just dueled in Dual World to earn star chips, and then you dueled Pegasus to earn points, and when you reached certain points you could unlock Pegasus. That was pretty much the event, but it's still a pretty fun event.
huh.
Could also get like rare cards that aren't in the card packs. It's kind of disappointing that, as I said, that they didn't release it sooner so other people could enjoy it, but oh well. Maybe they'll release it. Well, it's actually kind of the same server, so I guess they won't release that just for the US people. But maybe they'll have it again at some point so they can actually get a chance to unlock Pegasus.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want Pegasus. Like, so when you were doing the whole Christmas thing, was it like it was like Duelist Kingdom? Like, see, I've yet to see the actual UI of the game yet, so I'm still kind of confused on how some things work or how it looks.
It's really just, it's a really small thing. You have 4 basic areas, and that's your dual world.
Okay.
And you swipe the screen between those 4 places to duel what are known as the standard duelists as well as legendary duelists. Legendary duelists being actual duelists, and Taya, because God knows she apparently had to be a duelist. But basically, actual characters from the series are the legendary duelists.
Okay.
And your dueling field is actually smaller than the original one. You know, you had like your 5 and 5 monster, 5 spell.
Yeah.
Well, in this game you only have 3 of each.
Yeah, I remember you actually talking about that before. Oh.
Yeah. So it actually can make the game a little more simplified, but also a little more challenging when you really think about it if you're trying to do certain things. But that's half the fun.
Oh. It sounds like they're trying to do some attempt of an MMO. Maybe?
No, I think they were just trying to make it a little more challenging, and because your phone screen is only so big, and
true.
people want to be able to see the whole thing, that I think they just tried to fit it as best as possible, realistically.
Okay. Well, I was talking more along the lines of, like, you know, you playing the other duelists, and then, like, the characters from the series being the legendary duelists. The 3-card thing on a phone makes complete sense.
Yeah, and basically, you can level up your characters, which is separate, but to get through the stages, you complete missions. Like, right now, I'm at stage 27, and then stuff unlocks every time you advance to a stage. Like, maybe new characters unlock, maybe you get, like, extra points, whatever.
See, that sounds...
Stuff like that.
That sounds kind of like Tag Force, just with more people.
Yeah. And of course you can player versus player with people.
Yeah.
Which I've done. And when you hit, like, certain ranks, your ranks don't go down. But if you're not in those ranks, then your stuff goes down. Like, say you were a silver, a level 3 silver. Well, how PvP works is after the time period is up for the duels, if you didn't really go beyond that, you drop back down to the lowest level.
So your wins and losses actually have an effect?
No, they just kind of started over, I guess.
Ah.
But if you're like a certain bronze rank or a certain silver rank, and even hit like dual king rank, those don't really change.
Okay.
But like, there's more than one silver rank, there's more than one bronze, etc.
Okay, that sounds like actually there's a few online games that do that, like Persona for starters. Like, there's different ranks and wins and losses can kind of determine them. Like, you just kind of go lower.
Well, yeah, if you lose, like. I haven't really lost, so.
Well, that's because I'm not on there.
Well, yeah, but I've only lost one player versus player battle, and I was already at the lowest level possible, so I honestly can't really say how a loss would affect someone, or at least, you know, like, they probably have a bunch of YouTube videos on it, but, like, of course, when you win, the higher ranked person that you duel, the easier it is to rank up a little bit. But if someone's, like, a rank lower than you, you don't really rank up as easily, from what I've noticed.
I don't know what it's like to lose, because I'm not a loser. That's what my sister just said.
That is not what I just said. I said I've only lost one player versus player battle, and I was the lowest rank possible when I lost, so I don't know what happened. Like, You motherfucker. Think about it. If I was already the lowest rank, I don't know if it loses rank.
Alright. That is very true. You get out, you get away this time. Unlike Titan, who is just getting stomped.
Ugh.
I will never understand why anybody would make an Archfiend deck. It sucks.
Don't look at me. I don't have an Archfiend deck.
Yeah, then they suck. Like,
Although I can rather imagine you've offended several people saying that.
my Steam account name is Beachon. Anytime you're ready, guys.
And for the record, I am not involved in that.
She'd beat your ass too.
I maintain my statement. I don't want to die.
Yeah. Like, if it wasn't for that stupid, what's it called? If it wasn't for that stupid life-absorbing machine, he'd be dead by now. Ooh, even better. I'm gonna summon you again.
You summon them. You summon them again, bro.
My monster's fucking scary. Alright. So, wow, that was 2 pretty quick matches. So, what kind of ramen have you had over there?
Well, of course, miso ramen. That's a pretty common one.
Yeah.
And then they have a salt ramen, which is not as salty as you would think it is. And then there was this, like, cream broth ramen. I honestly forget what it's called, but they do have that here. And I've also had Sapporo ramen, which is basically just Hokkaido ramen. And the basic saying for that is anything from Hokkaido is delicious.
Yeah, I was about to ask if you've ever actually been there.
No, I've not been to Hokkaido, but Tokyo, I guess being a very touristy kind of place in some areas of it, they'll have, like, Hokkaido-specific items.
And you know what, that makes sense. That's kind of no different than, like, finding a Texas-themed restaurant up north somewhere.
Yeah. They have those here, too, for the record.
Of course they do.
Yeah, but they're not very good.
I mean, not everybody can do Texas.
It's not just that, and this is going to sound terrible of me, and I'm really sorry about that, but I'm coming to find that a lot of Japanese food is particularly greasy, and you know me, bro, I'm not really into super greasy food.
Yeah, that is quite true.
Yeah, that's why I've honestly not had a lot of ramen, like, throughout the over a year that I've lived here. Actually, I think it was about all those that I named that I've had. Wow. That's only like 5. Okay.
Well, to be fair, you probably have enough knowledge and lore of, like, Japanese culture that you wouldn't just automatically go for, like, ramen or miso soup or pocky.
Well, Japanese culture is so much more than just those things.
Yeah.
In fact, ramen is Chinese.
Yeah, you see? Case in point.
But, yeah, I wonder how many people got shocked with that one, but yeah, ramen is actually Chinese. But, like, when it comes to some Japanese food, I enjoy it. But I'm sorry, and you can attest to this too. As someone from Texas, we are very particular about our barbecue.
We are. We really are.
Yeah, and their barbecue here is sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. It's honestly a really big hit and miss.
So, what's the one thing that you would not expect to see in in Japan that's from America?
At this point, Starburst.
Hmm.
There's not really too much here that's not in the States. In fact, and this is going to be considered very terrible of me, but Japan tends to do a lot of things more American than most Americans.
At that point, I just imagine some Japanese dude pulling out his gun and just waving it in the air while going, "Woo! Yippee!"
No, because guns are illegal in Japan.
Really, I did
But
not know that.
yeah,
That explains why so
They're-
many people are getting like stabbed and bludgeoned to death in Phoenix, right?
yeah. What a great way to start that conversation. But yeah, basically what I actually meant was, and I actually found this out, and I thought it was an interesting thing when I found out about it, was the whole Japanese ordering Kentucky Fried Chicken for Christmas, the whole giant bucket for Christmas. That stemmed from a misunderstanding of what Americans actually eat on Christmas. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure that there are plenty of Americans who do eat like Church's chicken or KFC chicken on Christmas. I'm not going to pretend that that doesn't exist, but apparently here in Japan that they thought all Americans did that.
Huh.
And when my friend kind of brought that up, I was like, no, most American families have like turkey or ham or even goose on Christmas, depending on, their family. And they were really surprised to actually hear that. And it started this really weird conversation where they were like, but we thought Americans ate KFC on Christmas, because you guys are all about fast food. And I was like, but that's not everyone, so yeah, like how they see us is actually can be very interesting, if weird.
I always sat there and said there was xenophobic. This just further proves my point.
This isn't a thing of xenophobia, though. It's a thing of, how do I put it? So many people are like, oh, Americans, how you see us on TV is how you think we are. But they're doing the exact same thing.
Oh.
How they see Americans, and Japan's not the only guilty one of this. This is like worldwide. Everyone is guilty of this, of somebody's culture. But they see it on TV and they assume that's how the culture is.
Huh.
Like, and this is actually something from my Japanese art history class. My teacher, one of the things she would do would be to sit us in groups, and we'd have discussions on topics. And one of the things that came up was about how culture is portrayed in media. And my teacher didn't really realize it at the time, but I was really the only non-Asian in the group. So at first my classmates, they wanted to ask a question and they didn't want to ask it, and I was like, you know what? Go ahead and ask it. I'll take it for the team. And the question was basically, did I think that they dyed their hair took away from their culture? And my response was, no, I don't believe anyone dyeing their hair takes away from their culture, whether they lighten it, dye it green, purple, blue, yada yada, because people are people.
Yeah.
And I ended up going into this long explanation going like, okay, well, I can't speak for everyone, but I was definitely not one of those people who came here assuming all Japanese were samurai. Because apparently that's their impression. And there are apparently people who do have that impression that all Japanese people are samurai and that all the ladies are dressed like geishas, which is not true for those who probably have that mindset watching this video.
I don't even know. How would you even think that?
I don't know. Like, but this is like where the media comes in. And to make a very long conversation short, because this was a very agonizingly long conversation, my classmates brought up with the fact that how they see Americans as being basically all about adult things. And I'm trying to be courteous because I know children are probably watching this, even though I cussed earlier in this video.
Oh, I cuss all the
Oops.
fucking time.
Oops, oops,
And
oops.
I doubt
But
any of the 12 people that watch this are kids, realistically speaking.
know that. I don't know who watches your channel, but to get to my point before you sidetrack me again, basically, they're like, Americans are all about sex, drugs, and violence, and I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, because in all these movies that I watch, that's all Americans are all about. And that's how that conversation got brought up with the, you guys don't want us to perceive you as samurai and geisha, which is what a lot of Japanese are stereotyped as in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
But you're doing the same thing to Americans. And they're like, oh. And they're like, but all your movies are angry. And I'm like, no, those are just all the movies that you apparently like to watch.
Yeah. That's the card I needed. That's the game changer.
That timing. that could you take him literally and figuratively.
But no, I see what you mean, and I'm kind of... I'm guilty of that too on some level. Maybe
Yes.
as a race we just need to kind of stop taking fiction so damn seriously.
Well, you have to stop and think where it stems too. I mean, granted, like, how do I try to word this?
Wow, Jaden.
There is some truth to it, but it's not like today.
Yeah.
They were samurai and they had geishas at one point.
Yeah.
But you can't treat it like they still live in that mindset today.
Yeah, they've evolved just like everybody else.
Exactly. You know, and everyone has to like get to that point. So like for them when I got here, I was just really weird because I didn't have that mindset.
Okay.
You know, it's like so many people think that if you're coming to Japan, you're here for the anime and manga. Not everyone comes here for the anime and manga.
Okay.
Like, I myself, I'm a good example. I came here for college because
Yeah.
American college is ridiculously expensive.
Oh crap! I just picked the story deck by mistake, and I'm playing as Bastion Misawa.
I wish you the best of luck on your endeavor.
But yeah, no. I think I learned something new today.
That everyone keeps stereotyping everyone worldwide?
Yeah, I always thought it was just kind of an an American thing, and I didn't realize people all over the world did that.
They honestly really do. That's something that I've noticed at this point.
Well,
And the reason I can say that in all honesty, like, I know some people are probably thinking, oh, but you've only been to Japan, but I go to an international school, and we have a little bit of everybody, quite literally,
yeah. See,
at our school.
I didn't even know you came from an international school, or you're going to an international school.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that you went to school for Japan. I didn't realize it was... Wow. That is... Sorry, my mind just got blown for a second there. I thought...
I'd say I was sorry, but I'd be lying.
No, you're not.
I know I'm not.
Alright, when this card is face up on the field, it cannot be triggered in blah blah blah. Discard one spell card.
So are you gonna see the Yugioh movie when it comes out in the States?
Yes. Yes, I am.
I've already seen it, no, people, I'm not going to spoil. But some of those translations, oh my god. That's all I'm gonna say. It was worth it. But I don't agree that the movie answered more questions. Because that's apparently what the movie was created for. To answer unanswered questions. If anything, it just created more questions. While answering a couple questions.
I don't even know what the damn movie's about, honestly. Like,
Well, this isn't really a spoiler, but it basically takes place 6 months after the series ended.
Okay. Sorry,
And I'm going to leave it, I'm just going to leave it at that, because, as I said, what I've just said is really not a spoiler.
Yeah.
It's just time period. When you watch it, you're pretty much gonna get what I mean.
No, I just got distracted looking at my hand and what I could do. You know what I mean.
Oh, sorry, that just could be taken so literally. You don't even know.
Oh, shit. Sorry, Chaz just busted out United We Stand.
Divided we fall. I know, bad joke, but the door was opened. A door opened.
Oh. I'll make this hurt, Chaz. Giggity.
No. No. No.
Hey, I've said this on my channel before.
You do not quagmire when Yu-Gi-Oh-ing.
Alright. I am playing surprisingly good.
Wow, just brag, why don't you?
I'm not bragging this. I'm surprised. Usually I have the worst luck with drawing.
Well, there's a first time for everything.
Yeah, no kidding. I can't do anything with that card.
I'm sorry. So, the school that you go to, like, okay, it is an art school, but, like, how big is it? Okay, first of all, I never said it was an art school.
I thought it was.
It's Temple University's Japan campus.
Okay. Oh, a proper university. Alright. Please forgive.
But to answer your question on our campus, it's not that big.
Okay.
We confuse the living crap out of people. Literally, our school is part of an office building, and our school is the first 6 floors, and any floor above us is like DHC, which is a beauty product company here, and other offices and the such. Like, I don't know what they all do, because we don't honestly pay attention to them. But how we confuse them is that, of course, you have these people dressed for salary jobs or going to an interview, looking nice, and then looking very confused, because then you have us, the students, going in there just, of course, dressed as students, which for them is essentially bums because we're in t-shirts and jeans. So they're usually like, what? And I remember when I first went to school, I guess a guy who was having a job interview, he was very nervous. But then, of course, he sees us going in there, and he's like, am I lost? What's going on?
It
And
almost.
then a person came up to get him to take him to the proper floor for his job interview. And they were pretty much seeing his confusion and responded with, "Oh, don't mind them. Our office is below a college." And he was just like, "What?"
It almost. Damn it. It kind of sounds almost like a community college over here. Well, maybe not necessarily community college, but like, have you ever seen those colleges like Remington or Education America or hell, the Art Institute?
Yeah, you're talking like technical schools. Like
Yeah.
we're basically around that size, but actual university.
Okay. Huh.
And see, the thing that makes our school kind of funny is on the second floor we have our cafeteria. No, we don't have actual food served there. It's really just a large room where people eat.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did.
And when we're there, essentially the people on the salary floors avoid that floor like the plague. But when we're not there, in other words, when school is out, they love it because then they go in there because for them it's a place to eat.
So
And it's always amusing for us because they're always buying from our vending machines even though it's not part of their office. But they know of its existence, so they're like, I want a snack. Temple University is like X amount of floors below us. I'm going to their vending machines.
so they don't like you guys being around, but they have no problem. Wow. Jerks.
Well, it's kind of a love-hate thing, you see, because by my understanding, if we're there, then they have to eat at their desks, and they don't like to eat at their desks because apparently they don't have an eating area.
Oh, so you guys are sharing it.
In a way, we're sharing it. They just never asked if they could.
Huh.
But like for me, it honestly doesn't bother me. It's bothered other people, but the only reason it's bothered other people is because it's the vending machines. They buy from the vending machines, which means it runs out of stuff faster. But the
Yeah.
main issue is the coffee vending machine, because these people are salary people, so they usually get there before the students. And they're usually buying the coffee before the students. So essentially it's usually like, grr, 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 the coffee vending machine has no coffee in it because the salary women bought all the coffee. Although I was there not too long ago, it was hilariously funny. I told you I work at the Konbini next to the school. For those who don't know, a Konbini is just a convenience store. People in Japan, we just call it Konbini. But like my cell phone was low on battery, so I figured, oh, let me go ahead charge my phone, see if my friend's around, because sometimes she'll hang around at the school to use the Wi-Fi because she doesn't have internet at home, which, you know, no biggie. And so I went to go look for her, and of course she's usually in the cafeteria, so I checked the cafeteria, and all I saw was like the salary people. And the look of sadness and dread that I received just entering was spectacularly funny. You would have thought that I just said something offending, except nothing was said at all.
What did you do?
I just walked into my school's cafeteria, and there was salary men and women in there. They were eating their lunch. And they took one look at me and gave me this giant look of sadness and dread. That's all that happened.
Aww. Why?
Because I guess for them, seeing my presence was the reminder that soon they will not be able to eat in there for lunch.
Have you become the face of despair for the salarymen and women?
I felt bad, but it was like, I'm sorry, but realistically, you are using our facilities. Because like those are our facilities. It's not their facilities. As I said, I just don't care if they use it or not. But they don't have to look at me like I destroyed their world. For
That is
me, it
so
was pretty
sad.
funny, but
Yes.
they'll get
That's
over it. They get over it every semester.
that's freaking hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, I know I can disappoint people, but usually I have to say something first. But yeah, no. Like,
Oh.
in the mornings though, they'll be in there now to eat their breakfast. Cause see, like another thing too is we're not really next to a lot of restaurants.
Yeah, that was gonna be my question.
Yeah, essentially in the immediate area, like anything basically about a 5-minute walk, we have a bento place, a 7-Eleven, and a Lawson's, both of which are convenies. We had a falafel place, but the lady is apparently remodeling it, so we don't really have that anymore. And what else? Oh yeah, kebab, a ramen shop, and I think a curry place. That's all within the vicinity. The downside is everyone's lunchtime is almost at the same time. So you have basically 1,000 people going for lunch at the same time, which really kind of sucks.
And on the second floor in an office building, I can imagine.
Well, it's not just that. We also have what we call the Parliament, which was recently built, and that's on the first floor, which also the salary people love to use. Mostly because there are outlets there at the table, so they're like, yay, now I can eat and be on my laptop. So that was a nice add, and it helps to ease the seating issue, which was a really big problem a couple semesters ago, truthfully.
Okay.
But when you only have so much time to eat, you really don't want to wander too far off from the campus to get food. So most of us, including the salary people, we usually get our food from the konbini.
Okay.
Or from that bento place. 9 times out of 10 though from the konbini, because bento place only has so much food.
Huh. That is.
Don't get me wrong, the konbinis are happy. They make great business out of
Yeah.
us in schools.
Sorry, I'm just kind of processing everything. Sharing the
Yeah.
lunchroom with the office, with the suits, and them being upset when they see you in the morning.
Yeah, like I said, they'll get over it
Oh,
now.
it's. They.
Like a couple of them actually even like us.
Yeah, I was gonna say
They've
it's.
dealt with us for so long.
Yeah, I was gonna say they could just kind of get over it.
No, it's usually it's not like I guess I painted that wrong.
Yeah.
It's not they hate us or anything. It's just literally because there's nothing really in the area, and as I said, if they eat their lunch when we're there, they have to eat it at their desk.
Oh, so they
'Cause
don't
they
like you
don't
because
have-
they're inconvenienced.
They're not inconvenienced. It's our cafeteria. Basically, for them, it's well, I want to get away from my desk, which is totally understandable.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna judge that. That is totally understandable by me. So when school's not in session, eating in our cafeteria is them being able to get away from the desk.
Okay.
But when we're there, they can't do that. Even though realistically we wouldn't care if they did, but that is actually where the xenophobia would come in. They just don't feel comfortable sitting around foreigners and a bunch of students.
Ah.
So they would rather eat at their desk. by that point. But, you know, they're not bad people or anything. I can totally understand that comfort, because as an art major, you want to know what we do? We eat in the art room.
Wouldn't it, like, get on the paper and crap?
No, we have tables.
Fair enough.
But generally, one of the main reasons we all kind of do that is because, same reason, the cafeteria is crowded, so we don't really want to deal with people. And realistically, you're not supposed to be in there if you're not an art major, so we're just kind of like, ha ha ha.
Ah.
Do we care if non-art majors go in there? No, not really. We really don't. As long as it's not crowded, we're happy. Honestly, when I think about it, the last time I ever ate in the cafeteria was in my first semester. The school, it's because it's constantly growing, which is great, like getting more students. Downside, it's constantly growing, which means less seating areas.
Yeah. Maybe they'll have to get a new school at some point.
We keep whining at them for that. We have not had that luck yet. But they're going to have to cave at some point. We only have 6 floors. Although I will admit it's mostly us in the art department complaining because we don't have space. I'm serious. If I was to add up the amount of classrooms the art department had to do everything, not including computer room, it's only 3. That's not really a lot of space. Like, we honestly, like any art major would tell you, we essentially need our own building and our own space. We don't have that. And that's understandable because of how small the campus is. That doesn't mean we don't whine.
Wow, that was... Sorry, I was listening to you too, but that...
You were not.
I was. You were talking about how y'all don't have much space because y'all are getting a bunch more students. So you mainly eat in the art room.
Yes, we hide from the normal people.
Yes, you do. Like most artists.
Actually, it's funny because we're considered to be the happy department, and we're like, but we're also the one that's the most stressed because other than film for communications, we're the only department who's actually even there on the weekend because our school is not a 24-hour school.
It's not? I mean, I guess
No.
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, realistically it does make sense. Like the art department, of course, you have a lot of works. We don't have cars. You don't exactly want to carry your stuff home all the time.
That is true.
So essentially, when you're in the art department, you live at the school.
Oh.
At least until they kick you out.
Yeah.
Like, we're even usually there on Saturdays, sometimes Sundays if by chance it's open, which is very rare. But yeah, we're usually there just trying to get our work done. But the reason we're considered the happiest is because, like, people hear us laughing and enjoying ourselves, and we're like, well, art is enjoyable. We're stressed as all hell, but it's enjoyable.
Yeah. Where is it? Jeez. So, hang on. How often do you actually spend in, like, the art department?
Again, we live there.
Okay.
I have had days where I was there from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night.
Damn.
And the only reason we leave at 10 is because security tells us to go home.
Huh.
We're pretty much sure or at least the joke that I keep spreading around the school is the reason that they close it on Sunday is because they're pretty much like, we are sick of you. We've dealt with you 6 days out of the week. Go home, or at least don't come here.
So the school's closed on Sundays? Aren't a lot of businesses closed on Sundays over there?
Actually, no. A lot of places seem to be more open on Sundays, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh. So they don't have like a day where like, I guess kind of like, you know how like Christianity is the dominant religion over here, so Sundays kind of like, I don't want to say sacred, but some businesses are closed, a lot of businesses close earlier. Like, you get what I
Realistically, all cultures would have something like that. But Sunday, like Japan, they do have some businesses like that, but it's not as much as you would think. Like, that only really happens at New Year.
mean?
Like, if you recall, when it was getting to be the New Year, I was like, oh, it's like 4 p.m. I better go to the store now because they're going to close. Because a lot of places were closing at 6 for the New Year.
Oh, okay.
But in a regular weekday and stuff, a lot of places are still open, like usually like restaurants and stuff.
Okay.
The places that are closed usually on the weekend or on Sundays are, of course, schools, but also like work offices. So like very standard things are closed. Of course, government offices.
Yeah. So does Japan even have like, is are there like a bunch of religious people out there, or?
Uh, kind of yes, kind of no.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I want to say, I guess for me that's a hard question to answer because of the sole fact that I know that there's religious people, but it's not like in the States where you have all those extremists bothering you about it. I've actually, in the time I've been here, I've only been asked once. And I told the lady no. She wanted to know if I was interested in the Christian religion. That was how she worded it, for the record. She just said, she honestly asked me if I was interested in the Christian religion, and I didn't really want to get bothered with it. So I just said, no, I'm sorry. And she just said, okay, have a blessed day. And she left me alone, and I was honestly shocked by that. I was expecting her to yell at me, like they do in the States.
I don't think I've ever actually gotten yelled at, but yeah, they can be a little pushy sometimes.
No, I've actually gotten insulted and yelled at in the States here. That was the one time they asked me, and the lady was honestly very polite, a lot more Christian than most in the States, that let me tell you. And for me, that was more of a culture shock. Someone asking me something and taking my note and then leaving me alone? Wow. What a concept.
That is very true.
That was amazing. I'm not even gonna lie. I honestly didn't know how to deal with it after, but I just went about my day still being like, my god, I can't believe someone actually took my polite no, and because I just said no thank you, and told me blessed day, and then that was it.
Huh.
That was amazing.
That is something else. I have people that randomly try to talk to me on the bus. Like, I'll have headphones on and listening to music and playing a game, and they will still sit there and try and hold a conversation. I even went so far as to tell one guy who was trying to talk to me about the game, I'm not a sports person. I have no idea what you're talking about, nor do I care. He actually acknowledged it. He was like, oh, okay. And then kept talking about the damn game with me anyways.
Yeah. You'll find a couple people like that here too. Not usually about sports. Usually they'll, how it usually works is they'll see you as a foreigner and they'll start talking about their culture, which is fine. But they'll be like, oh, do you know anything about sumo wrestling? It's like, no, but I honestly have no interest in it. But then they'll keep going.
Hang on a second.
Okay, I'm holding on. This is a very long second.
Sorry, my roommates were knocking to see if I was home. And I just lost the Weevil Underwood, and it's almost time for me to start getting ready for work. So I would like to thank my sister for joining me. I think I'm done here.
You realize I'm gonna make fun of you later for losing to Weevil, right?
Yeah. And, oh, wait until you see the actual video, because I was, like, kicking everybody else's ass. Badly.
Yeah, that's gonna have to wait for another day, because honestly, it's 6 a.m. and I should probably get to bed, so I can go to work.
Oh, this probably isn't even going to be up until, like, well, probably, like, actually, by the time you get off of work tonight, it should be up.
Okay, cool.
Alright,
Send
then.
me the...
I will. So,
Are you still recording?
yes, I am. Anyways, this is Beachon signing off saying I'll see you guys later.
Later, guys.